boys. So your parents are is not as bad as you think. So a little bit of backstory, I used to believe that, I when I had depression, I used to believe it's my dad, this and that. I used to blame him for this and that. He used to be so mean to us, right? He was hard on us. And now that I realize it, right, my dad was just like going through a tough time, because, you know, he was battling his own problems. And basically, when he's being tough to us, like he's trying to toughen me and my brother up. But then I used to make him a villain of my story. I used to like make him think that he was all this bad person. But you must understand that there are two sides to every person, because what I didn't take into account, I was being ignorant, right? I was being ignorant, and I didn't take into account him, his other side of where he would like he told us where he loved us, like he would die for us, he would kill for us. And then he goes to work, like he goes to work, in a crappy job where he doesn't want, just so he could put food into, like, in our table. Like, I used to villainize him, and I used to hate him, and I used to side with my mom, always hating him, always villainizing him. And you must understand that many people have different flaws, people have different flaws, and like, not everybody's gonna be reborn same way as you are. Let's say that you're born into a family and you live a good life, a pretty good life, like a decent life, because of, your parents. And then after that, you expect your parents to like be the same as you, because like, oh, if they what's it called, if they experienced how it felt, why do they do it? Because that's all they know. It's basically in psychology that that's basically all they know. And so, people back then, they didn't have no psychology, they didn't have no mental health, bro. They don't know what meditating is, they don't know what journaling is, bro. So when you think about it, bro, you look back at the times when your parents was like mean to you, acting like that, this and that. It comes from deep down, because like that's what they saw as a kid. That's what they were influenced by. And so you must understand that these people, your parents, they're still human, they're still people. It's very easy for us to, forget about this factor that our parents are human, bro. Because, have you ever heard of the story of where like, oh, when I was a kid, I used to like hate on my parents, this and that. And then when they became 20 years old, they started to, learn the gratitude. They started to mature and learn, of the blessings and like the gratitude that the parents give them, right? Why do we need to wait until we're 20 years old, 30 years old? Why do we need to wait until we're older to realize that the people putting us under a house, the people putting food on our table, is meaningful people in our life? Because I genuinely tell you, I was before, back then, when my dad was helping me bring a project to school, my mom and dad helped me, and they were gonna help me bring it to school. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want. I was very, what is it called? Ashamed of my parents. I was ashamed of my parents. And then what happened was I cared more about the people who didn't care about me, like the people in school. Oh, the pretty girl in school, the pretty girl in school, and I didn't want to bring my parents with me. And like, you know, you know what I'm trying to, like, that feeling of where, you care about your classmates more than your own parents, like their opinion. So break the cycle, bro. Break the cycle of where you have to wait until you're 20 years old, 30 years old. When you're old, like, that's when you start to begin to care for your parents, when they're about to pass away, bro. There is a saying where you must treat every day it's your last. So you need to take your life into your own hands and treat it like it's your last, bro. Right? And so how come if you don't do it to your parents, treat your parents like it's their last day, bro? They could die tomorrow. You may never know, bro. could you honestly say that, if you had some problems with them, like problems that you don't have, or problems that you didn't, what is that word called, resolve with them, and just like stop talking to them? Because that's what I did with my own dad, bro. For a long time, I didn't talk to him. I villainized him, and he knew that I didn't talk to him because like I didn't like him, this and that. And then my mom just said like, oh, because you're always doing this and that, you're always bullying him. But honestly, I was just being such a pussy, bro, because some obvious jokes that he made about me, I had already triggered me, this and that, but I was just being a pussy. And if I didn't like what he was saying, the jokes about me, I could have resolved that problem with me going up to him and just saying, talk to him, like, oh, I really don't like how you do this and that, because your parents are not perfect. Because you may have that concept of they're so perfect, they're so good because they raised you, right? And like they like made you. But it doesn't mean that they're gonna do everything right. Obviously, they're gonna have their own mistakes, bro. And so, be a little bit more nicer to your parents, bro. Because they only want what's best for you. And sometimes, bro, sometimes it's gonna be hard. Like, they're gonna, like, want to do something that they think is good for you. And sometimes you know what's good for you. But, sometimes you just gotta decide for yourself, bro. But just always keep in mind that your parents only want what's best for you. For example, there's this safe option, right? There's this safe option, low risk, low reward, right? And they tell you to choose that obviously because they're your parents. They don't want to see you hurting. But there's this thing, the high risk, high reward. Obviously, you would want to go that because you're just going to your own life. So, bro, you just need to like explain to them and try to get to their level and try to let them get to your level and go on from there. Don't be like what I was, where I thought it was uncool to be with your parents. Because if you ask any 20-year-old out there, your parents is literally your best friend, bro. And if you think otherwise, for all the people who had abusive parents, like genuinely abusive, bro, because I got spanked, bro. Like my dad screamed at us talking this and that, but to me that's not abusive, bro. I just think that's like normal Asian parents, but what I mean by abuse is like getting beaten for real, bro. Like you got beaten like Goggins, you were hanging from the sky and then they were whipping you, like that kind of abuse, bro. For those people, I can't speak upon them, but if genuinely you had pretty average parents, bro, then give them a hug, bro, because it means a lot. One time I gave a hug to my mom when she was cooking for me. I was like saying thank you for cooking for me when times I can't cook for myself, bro. Because sometimes I come home late from work and then I come home to a nice cooked meal to my mom, and then I just like hugged her once and I said thank you, bro. And works parents work every day just so pay the bills, food, and show them that you're thankful for that, bro. Because one day, if God wills it, if you're unappreciative, if you're ungrateful, bam, taken from you. And what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're in an orphanage. You gotta live with your family relatives because your parents are gone. So be grateful for it, or you'll lose it. Be the best possible man you can be. That's enough for me. And assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you, bro. Have a good rest of your day.